At our last Grand National cross-country race, Kailub Russell was given an opportunity to take the series points lead back, and he didn't hesitate, scoring a win while the rest of the field battled and banged for the podium. Can they get up with KR today? Snowshoes next. It's the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series here on RacerTV.com. This is the big one. The Mud Fleas come out for the AMSOIL Snowshoe GNCC, showing talents of their own. And then the talented motorcycle racers will do battle out on this very unique track. We, of course, start at about 4,400 feet of elevation at the top of the Snowshoe Ski Resort Village. Kailub Russell, Josh Strang getting ready for racing. We'll work our way down from this paved section of the village down into the woods, where we'll get nasty. There's Jordan Ashburn coming on strong as of late.
They're 20 seconds away, actually.
And what's interesting also about this event is we don't have the room to run the full width class start, so we line them up by order of overall points. Grant Baylor from XC2 is there on the right side, the number one of Russell there with him. Baylor has a shot maybe at winning the overall today, starting up front with these riders. And on that nimble two-stroke, which is definitely good in the technical terrain. Looks like Strang is going to lead them off the line. And look at Baylor. Yeah, into the lead. Oh, and Strang squares him right back up. We're on to row number 2. Again, this is lined up in overall points, not per class today. Andrew DeLong leading them through. Then Paul Whibley making the move on the number 5. Stuart Baylor files in behind him. Chris Bach at the tail end of that group trying to make passes on the Honda. We go back to row number 3. Thad Duvall, always very fast on this track, leading them on the 989. Trevor Bollinger and Lane Michael right there. Duvall actually racing a 250, but he's in the XC1 class. As we see into the woods, Kailub Russell has taken the lead and has lost his film system from his goggles. Strang on the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Yamaha second. Then it's the Ampro and Fab Yamaha of Ashburn coming through next. Looks like Baylor and DeLong coming through. Well, this is what everyone was hoping would not happen. That's Russell getting comfortable early. He has been the man to beat since Charlie Mullins has left this series with a pair of wrist injuries. Last 2 years, Russell and Mullins have been exchanging wins. Russell getting the championship last year. It was back and forth every week between those two, but now that the hot rod is out, it's up to this pack to try to keep Russell in check. See Duvall coming through here. This track is often challenging, even for the best riders, so I'm sure they were hoping it would breed some mistakes in the champ, but so far, no good. And this is where Russell has really stepped up his game. And look at this. A big pack behind him, but he's already putting distance on them. Here's Strang, who has had great success at this race before. Trying to hold off a pack. What do we got? 7 riders here within sight of each other, and I'm really curious what Duvall can do. Starting in row 3, certainly not helpful, but he does have a time adjustment on his side as Russell forges his way through the forest. Looks like Ashburn has moved up to second on the number 7, using those long legs to help him in some of these technical sections. And that's an XC2 rider on a Yamaha. I believe that's Ricky Russell up to 3rd and Duvall 4th. So quickly the riders from the 3rd row moving up. Here's DeLong, who is on row 2. So it is shaken up big time behind your leader, Russell, and he's getting away. Wow. Little mistake there, but you'll have that. I mean, he is running a pretty respectable pace considering how nasty these woods are. I mean, there's virtually no traction here. You got shale rock, hard pack, mud. Ashburn no slouch through here either. And you've got to realize these guys are probably breathing heavy. They are tired. This track takes it all out of you. You are just fighting the machine all the way around. So the fact that these guys even have the strength to open it up when the course gives them even the slightest opportunity is pretty impressive. There's Baylor on the number 1. Trying to keep these guys in check. Russell down here amongst the mud fleas. They're willing to help if you get sideways or have a problem, but he doesn't need it. I mean, just momentum through that section. Now it's like a monster truck just smashing over everything in its wake. Ashburn, good job staying up on the pegs, trying to work the bike through the low center of gravity up off the seat. Duval already up to 3rd. And that has always been good in the mud. And there was a race years ago where he nearly beat David Knight when he was in, I believe, still the XC2 class. And Knight was the overall winner of the race. So Duval, born and raised in West Virginia, can run this stuff as well as anyone. See Baylor working his way through on the number 1. Russell has really upped his game in the technical stuff. As I was saying, top of the show, he's one of the smaller guys out here, and I think when he first transitioned into the bigger bikes of the XC1 class, he had trouble in the mud races, but he has really come on the last few years. It is now a strength of his. And this year he should be better than ever. Has done a lot of work on the slow technical stuff with his new KTM teammate, Taylor Robert, who primarily focuses on the Enduro Cross series. Russell getting pretty handy in that type of terrain, and I guarantee you that is going to pay off on a track like this. This is like Enduro Cross, but for real, folks. They don't have to bring these obstacles in. They're just taking what Mother Nature and West Virginia can dish out. It's a big uphill climb here. There's 1,000 feet of elevation change between the highest and lowest points of the track. There we go. We don't even need video cameras. We'll just confiscate that dude's phone. And Ashburn on his own now in 2nd. He has really established himself. Again, that was a pretty furious pack for a while. Well, the goggles are off. We saw there were problems with the roll-off system early. So fresh goggles here for Russell. And that was the only problem he really had to deal with. Nothing else needed. He is gone. We'll see if Ashburn, now that he's all alone, can try to make a run and put some pressure on the leader. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Can-Am. What goes up must come down. We saw Kailub Russell working his way to the pit area as we went to break. Now that we come back, he's worked his way across it and now back onto the track. This course is divided into basically east and west sections, I should say, much longer than the average GNCC track. It's really almost twice the length. It's basically like having 2 loops on either side of the mountain with a pit area and that ski village and the start and all that stuff right in the center. I don't know if one section is more difficult than the other. They're all pretty darn hard out here. As you see, Ashburn still solid in the number 2 position. And how about Andrew DeLong working his way up to 3rd? Been a pretty solid rookie season for DeLong. And Thad Duval still wrestling that Honda around. He's in 4th, still has a shot at the podium, but they're all going to need some help to catch his guy, Kailub Russell, who has checked out. What a performance he has put in. And you had to wonder if it was going to affect him mentally. Oh man, as that bike just kicks all over the place on these rocks. But he doesn't have his primary title contender, Charlie Mullins, to worry about any longer. Now, obviously, that'd be a good thing overall when the guy you're battling for the championship with is out. But sometimes we see these guys lose focus. Apparently, it's not affected Russell yet. I think DeLong here is going to try to make a run at Ashburn for the number 2 spot. And he's got to deal with a lapped rider who looks like he just blew an engine going up that hill. And so much of this one is about just nursing the bike around. We have seen a lot of riders fry clutches in these mud bogs. And then the rocks can do strange things, derail chains. bend brakes, so you have to be careful. It's not really just about going fast. Today, more of an old school race, a survival event. And there's Ashburn. He takes a look over his shoulder. What he has to worry about is these riders behind him, and we're talking about DeLong and Duval, they don't need to finish in front of Ashburn physically to beat him on the time clock, because they did not start on the front row. And that's what makes this race really difficult. The riders do not usually know exactly where they stand. They're trying to make time estimates. The rows start about 30 seconds or so apart, so you can have up to a minute to play with depending on what row you start in. Russell definitely working his way past a lap rider. And there have been times in this race where Duval has actually gotten close even to Russell on overall time with the adjustment factored in. Similar story for DeLong here. These guys are not out of it if Russell makes a mistake. This is a track clearly very easy to make those on. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Can-Am. Kailub Russell continues to roll here at the AMSOIL Snowshoe GNCC. This is the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Maxxis and AMA National Championship. And Russell continues to pull away. There are times, whoa! Big mistake from Jordan Ashburn. There are times when Ashburn and other riders that did not start on row 1, who have a time adjustment, are able to make a run at Russell here and there, but he has really started to pull away now. Andrew DeLong on the Husky, trucking along in third, again with that time adjustment on his side that might allow him to still overcome Ashburn. But Russell's got a pretty good gap built up, and it's riding like this that has gotten him there. I mean, this is like riding on ice when you get to these muddy tree roots, and look at the speed differential as he just blitzes past a lap rider from the amateur divisions who is a pretty solid rider. It's not the beginner classes that are allowed out here in the afternoon. It's the intermediates and the experts and the pros. These are good riders, but you can see they are just exhausted at times, having a tough time getting around such a difficult track. A nice little pace for DeLong through this difficult section. And we now hear that Thad Duval has run into mechanical problems on the RideMPS.com machine, so he's out as far as contention for the podium or even the overall. It could be between these three, Russell, Ashburn, and DeLong. Kind of surprised. Josh Strang has had his troubles today. As I mentioned in the past, he was very quick on this track and he had the good start. Well, this is just a clinic to watch how you ride difficult off-road terrain. And I don't even know if these guys are necessarily racing each other as far as the clock is concerned, or if they're just trying to get around. Finally, a mistake for Russell. How's he going to handle this one? He's right on a tree root with no momentum, so he's just going to turn the motorcycle and ride next to it. Well, that was pretty sharp right there, and that's the advantage you have when you have as big a lead as he's built up. He didn't have to rush through here. Let's see how Ashburn handles it. Kept the momentum up and rolled across. Here's DeLong. Forces himself right into that line that Russell used. So nice job by those two. They'll close up a little bit, but the Russell lead is impressive. Between laps 3 and 4 is where he really extended it on the one side of the mountain, the longer loop. He added almost a minute to his lead on Ashburn. So Russell, who's just attacking this terrain here, has about a minute and a half lead. Whew. It's just so difficult to get to the top of this stuff. It's a ski resort. There's very little of the track that's flat. And the soil even changes so much. There were years here where it didn't even rain coming in, and the riders will hit some rocks and it'll almost pop open a natural spring, and the water starts flooding the course and you end up with mud even when you didn't expect it. Ashburn digging down deep through this stuff. And you can hear the RPM these riders are using today, just tractoring around. Back to the two-stroke, Grant Baylor looking for the right line. And Baylor's a big kid. He's able to wrestle that bike around a bit. He's in a little XC2 battle. Trevor Bollinger right there with him. Now on the high-speed stuff, we work our way back up to the top of the ski resort. It's that 1,000-foot climb. And even here, you can see it's not easy to maintain traction. Into the pit area we go. Some fresh Scott goggles coming the way of Russell. Fresh tank of gas, and they're giving him his times. Saying got about a minute and 45. And like I said, it's an interesting situation that Russell finds himself in now. Has the points lead. Charlie Mullins is out for the season with a pair of broken wrists. So really the only thing that can go wrong now is he almost has nothing to gain. He's already the champion of the series, already the points leader, already has a huge points lead. The rest of this year for Russell is going to be about avoiding disaster and not throwing away a championship that is clearly his to lose. The other guys, they're just trying to get, in this case, for example, Ashburn, the first wins of their career. Ashburn has had a pretty good season with AmPro and Fab Yamaha. I think there was a time, actually, where some weren't sure if he would be back on that team this year. He has really put together a solid season. Going to stop in the pits. Similar story to Russell. Going to fill the gas tank and get goggles, and you see some of the Yamaha people looking around the motorcycle to make sure everything looks to be in running order. And he's out. Now it's the long in third. These riders have to be careful. Oh, tire change for Josh Strang. We'll be right back. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Can-Am. You're watching a virtuoso performance here. Kailub Russell has led nearly every mile of this AMSOIL Snowshoe GNCC. Looking for his third straight victory this year and to further extend his points lead. And I'll tell you what, once he learned to be just as effective in these tough, muddy races as he was in the other stuff, it has become almost impossible to beat him anywhere. That's why he's the defending champ. We haven't had a rider go back-to-back GNCC titles in a long time. Got to go back to David Knight in 2007, 2008 to find your last back-to-back champ. Juha Salminen did it 2 years prior to that. Rodney Smith had been a back-to-back champion. Here is Russell. Going to try to put the finishing touches on this one. Should be the white flag here. KTM people, it's Andy Callanan, I believe, the team manager, cheering him on the side of the course. Pulls at the film system. Clear vision. Continuing to pull away. And he is simply the best in the off-road business right now. Ashburn has been second most of the day. The lead is almost 2 minutes separating him from Russell at this point. I don't think he's concerned with the lead now. He's just trying to get to the finish. Use those long legs, keep the bike upright. Oh, that hill is so steep, so much steeper than the cameras make it look. And then it's DeLong, who has never been on the podium in the XC1 class. The rookie has had a couple of top fives. but this would be a breakthrough for him. Meanwhile, same old, Kailub Russell revs it out and takes the checkered flag here at Snowshoe. A dominant performance by your defending series champ. He'll further extend the points lead, and he has proven tough on any terrain. Well done for Ashburn. Was third at our last race in Ohio, second today. So he's beginning to feel it. 3 podiums total for the season. And Andrew DeLong is going to put the Husqvarna on the box. A lot of people happy about that one. A little panic rev to celebrate. Nicely done for their class rookie. Stuart Baylor from way back ends up 4th. Chris Bach 5th on the Rockstar JCR Honda Strang. Not what he wanted today, 6th. Thomas Wibley, Robinson, and Sipes. That's your top 10. Baylor able to hold off Bollinger in the XC2 class. We're looking at the AMSOIL results. Nick Davis puts it on the podium. Jesse Grom, very strong in the Enduro Series, put those skills to work in the top 5. Ricky Russell was 5th. And here are your point standings. Mullen's still in 2nd. He is idle, though. You've got to figure the likes of Strang, Ashburn, and the rest will get by him. And the FMF KTM rider Russell continues to roll, trying to lock down his 2nd straight GNCC championship. We'll show you how he got the win today. It's the AMSOIL race recap. It was the other KTM #1, Grant Baylor, around the outside, able to get into the lead on the road section. But a few miles in, Kailub Russell had the #1 spot. Yeah, a few mistakes beat off the pegs here, but you should have saw the other guys, as they say. It was a difficult track for all. Russell got away from Ashburn and DeLong. They got away from everyone else. And on the most dynamic track we have in GNCC, high-speed stuff, slow-speed stuff, everything in between, Kailub Russell was aces today. Congrats to him. Thanks for watching Racer TV.